Today I will speak about one of the most important death metal bands in all history of metal, and of course I'm speaking about Morbid Angel from Florida, from Tampa, from the United States of America. Morbid Angel started in 1983 as a band, and the mastermind behind the band is of course their guitarist Trey Azagoth, if I prefer his state's name. And Trey, even from the beginning, he was inside occultism and satanism. A little bit after, he started to be also inside the mythology of the Sumerians. And today he's inside the New Age philosophies and so on and so on. But if we're speaking about Morbid Angel, Trey is the guy behind this band especially. Other special members of this band is of course their mythological drummer of them for many years, Pete Sandoval. He came to the band from the grind death metal band Terrorizer. And until now we can say that the style that they play, their up-tempo blast beats, is also because of Sandoval. Sandoval left the band in 2013 formally, but he was not involved in the album of Illud Divinium Insanus 2 years before it. And there are some people that are speaking that today he's a newborn Christian. I don't know exactly about Sandoval. Another also special member is their first, let's say, their first important singer of them and bassist, and I'm speaking about David Vincent. David Vincent he's the singer of the first 4 most known albums of Morbid Angel. He left the band first time in 1996 after the 4th album of them, after Domination. And he became a member of an industrial gothic metal band of his wife in these years. And after many years, he came back in 2004 until 2014, something like that. He left the band for the second time. In the meanwhile, when David Vincent left the band, and he was one of the most iconic death metal singers in these years, they brought to the band as a singer Steve Tucker. Steve Tucker, also a very famous singer that he saved the band for many years. Tucker, he was in the band until 2003 for first time. Also between 2001 and 2002, they brought another singer, Anderson, from Hate Eternal. But when Vincent left for the second and last time in 2014, so in 2015, Steve Tucker came back, and he is the singer of the band until these days that we are speaking. Another also special member of the band is Eric Rutan, the guitarist, that came to the band in the period of Domination. He came from Ripping Corpse to Morbid Angel. Afterwards also he made the band Hate Eternal, and today he plays inside Cannibal Corpse. Today I will try a little bit to speak about Morbid Angel, about their albums. Before that, I have to say that Morbid Angel maybe is one of the first death metal bands that they played only death metal without thrash metal influences in their music. And yes, death metal started because of death, and because of Possessed, and because of Hellhammer and Celtic Frost. We don't forget this, of course. And together, but Morbid Angel they are one of the first forefathers of the real death metal, American death metal especially, scene, together with Dayside, together with Cannibal Corpse, with Obituary, with Autopsy, with Cancer, with Malevolent Creation, Immolation, Suffocation, all these special bands of these days. And of course with Death and other bands like Atheist, and so on and so on and so on. Here I will try to rank their 9 studio albums of them to worst to best, but together with this I will put another also album, the album by the name Abominations of Desolation. It would be their first album that they wanted they wanted this album to be their first album in 1986, but they didn't succeed, so their first album is Ultras of Madness in 1989. But Heretic put this album in 1991 as a demo, the Abominations of Desolation, and for this reason also in 10,000 copies. And for this reason, here I will put inside the albums the Abomination of Desolation first album, let's say, demo, let's say, I don't care. So let's start. In the 10th place for me will come, of course, their 8th album of 2011 by the name Illud Divinum Insanus, this Latin name. And yes, for many people this album, or for the most people, this album is awful. This album also is like they call it, the set anger of death metal. Yes, this album is not exactly Morbid Angel. And unfortunately, this is the album of the comeback of David Vincent in the band, their so famous first singer of the four famous albums, first 4 famous albums of them. Unfortunately, here because maybe of Vincent, they made a style of industrial metal with death metal, but not without good taste. So here you can find maybe some good songs, for example, Blades for Baal, or I Am Morbid, or 10 More Dead, or Nevermore. But also you can find here industrial craps, for example, like Too Extreme or like The Radical. This is not a good album at all, unfortunately. In the 9th place, their 7th album of 2003, Heretic. This album was the last album of them for many years. Also a very crazy album, a little bit more new age in its style, a little bit more of meditation, songs like meditation music, silence inside some songs, total silence. Okay, this is also not exactly the Morbid Angel as we know them, but you can find also some good songs from here and there inside this album. In the 8th place, their 5th album of 1998, Formulas Fatal to the Flesh. This album also is better from Heretic, of course, but also it's a little bit crazy. This also was the first Morbid Angel album that I listed. Now, in the 7th place, their last album until now, their 9th album of 2017, Kingdom's Disdain. For me, this is the most safe Morbid Angel album. Came out after the crap of Illud Divinium Insanus. Steve Tucker is also, for the second time, the singer in this album, and he makes a very good work. And in this album, Trey wanted to prove that Morbid Angel came back to their roots, and for this reason, it's a safe album, and not bad album, but not something so great, but it's also a good album. In any case, in the 6th place for me comes their 6th album of 2000, the beginning of the new millennium, Gateways to Annihilation. And for me, this is the best Morbid Angel album with Steve Tucker as their singer. Great, great, great album. I like it. A lot. Now, in the 5th place, and maybe some people will don't understand this, will not agree with me, I will put their 4th album of 1995, Domination. Yes, this album was the last great album of them, and also the last album with David E. Vincent as their singer and bassist in these years. And for many people, this is inside the 4 great albums of Morbid Angel. But for me, I'm not so connected with it as I'm connected with the 3 other albums before it. In any case, the 4th place I will put here Abominations of Desolation. This was to be their first album in 1986, but it came out only in 1991 as a demo, not as a full-length album. And it's not exactly the Morbid Angel as we know them from Atlas of Madness and afterwards, but also it's a very good album. And I prefer it a little bit more from Domination. And now let's come to the unholy trinity of Morbid Angel. So in the 3rd place, their 3rd album of 1993, Covenant. And yes, I know many people will say that this is the best album of them and understand them. Here you can find so good killer songs like Rapture or like God of Emptiness, was so famous, the video clip also in the MTV, with a great also cover art, but I prefer it a little bit less from the 2 other albums that will come afterwards. Now, 2nd place, their first debut album of 1989, Altars of Madness. And this album is so phenomenal, not only inside death metal. This album is so great because of its concept, became so famous inside also the, let's say, between the 1st and 2nd wave of black metal. Not by the music, no, I'm not speaking about the music influence, no, it's not a new music influence, but about the stylistic style of this album, about the songs, about the lyrics, about the whole picture of Morbid Angel also helped to the black metal scene to come out afterwards. And I'm not speaking about the musical aspect here. No. Musical aspect, you can find the forefathers of black metal inside Venom, inside the Celtic Frost, bands like them. Bathory, of course, Merciful Fate, maybe. Okay. In any case, this is a great, great album. And also, I'm not speaking about the whole contradictory between Euronymous and with the death metal scene afterwards. Now, in the 1st place, of course, their 2nd album of 1991, Blessed Are the Sick. And yes, this is for me the best and most favorite album of them a little bit more darker from Altars of Madness, a little bit more progressive maybe. For me, for example, bands like Nile or like Blood Incantation, that they are continue the way of Morbid Angel, especially they continue the way of this album. Blessed Are the Sick, a great album from all the aspects. And for me, this is the magnus opus, let's say, of Morbid Angel. So from Israel and from Jerusalem, stay metal and stay heavy.